So 20 plus years ago now,
Yes.
we're talking at this point, Jack Miller and Ed Aleska, who lived in Wolfeboro, right, had
Right.
a vision to create this wonderful boat that is sitting behind us,
Yes.
which is a mini version of the Mount Washington, or the MS Mount Washington. So where did the idea come from? Like, how did they come about saying, hey, let's build a mini mount?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was launched on July 4th, 1995. And it had taken them 7 years to put everything together. Parts of it made in Florida and trucked back north, but the final assembly was done in Wolfeboro, or on Main Street in the boathouse. And even years before that, it's almost like the boathouse was made for the mini mount, or the little Mount Washington as it was named. And I think that was built in the early 80s. And then they built an 8-foot replica just to practice the scaling. And fortunately, I ended up with that as well, and it's in my living room.
So I take it, I mean, you've sort of been following this all along.
Well, for quite some time. I'd seen it on the lake in a number of locations, and knew it was docked over in Wolfeboro. And then actually, I had seen it for sale down in Irwin's in Lakeport a number of years ago, probably 5 years before I ended up actually purchasing it. And just think, geez, and that's neat, but what am I going to do with it?
Right.
And I still don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Right.
But
it's still a work in progress,
it
that's
is.
for sure.
But
that's for sure.
this guy here has been an enormous help. He's been unbelievable. Working through the winter, you know, January, February of last year, it was pretty nippy.
Yeah.
Not nippy enough for Tim,
Yeah.
who was over here until the cleaning fluids would freeze and he had to give up.
Oh my goodness. So now what, okay, so it launched in 1995, and I recall seeing it, you know, I mean, my own childhood, I recall seeing it, you know, on the lake and in various places. I know he would always bring it out on Wednesday nights when the Mount was coming in and the Cape Park Band was playing, because there were lots of people in town. So now what happened? Just over the course of time, he just didn't have time for it anymore, or?
Well, they, as Timmy always points out, they weren't young men when they started it.
Very true.
And I actually was fortunate enough to meet him right after I bought the mini mount. Just stopped by, totally unannounced, on a delightful fall day. The front door is open, and I knock, and he says, "Oh, hi, come on in, we're just having tea." And I said, "Well, don't you want to know who I am?"
Yeah.
Oh, no, come on in. So anyway, got to meet both he and Alice, and well, I think we're close to 90 at that point.
Wow.
And they were heading to North Carolina for assisted living, and so yeah, the boat had just outlived them. So
Right. So it obviously went up for sale,
Yes.
and you came across it
Well,
in a couple of different places before
right.
actually taking the leap.
Right. Yes, it had been for sale, as I say, for a number of years, probably from the late 90s. No, actually more into the early 2000s. But no takers. It was finally gifted to the Mount Washington cruise line. And I ended up purchasing it from them.
Oh, okay.
And by that time, having been left outdoors for too long, uncovered,
Right.
it was really starting to reach the critical point of being able to restore it or not. So I just bit the bullet.
Right.
And I say I had no idea where it was going, what was going to be done.
Oh. So I take it both of you, being friends and whatnot, have always been fans of this boat and what it is and all of that sort of thing. So I mean, is that why you kind of jumped on board and got involved, or?
Well, I'd seen the boat out in the lake a number of times. It was just it was just so neat to see it.
Yeah.
But I never had a chance to get up close to it. And then just Doug knocked on my door one day and said, "Oh, by the way, I bought the mini mount." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm just like, "What?" And my wife says to me, "I don't care."
Are you serious?
Yeah, my wife says, "I don't care what you do as long as you don't involve me." So it's just been just a great project, and the boat is just so unique. How many people are going to build a 50-foot replica again of the Mount Washington? It's just,
right.
it's just never
It's
going to
kind
happen
of a
again.
once-in-a-lifetime deal. Yeah. Once in a lifetime vision.
And the nice thing about working on the boat, there's really been no heavy lifting. It's just been painting and scraping and replacing some of the rotted wood. So, yeah, no heavy lifting, which was nice. So,
right.
and we're making progress. And when we first saw the boat, it's got a steel hull, and the superstructure is all wood. The steel hull was all rusted. You can see the condition when Doug received the boat. The hull from the water line down, or the rubber rail down, was in this condition. And it was really discouraging as to how much rust was on here and what the project might be to get this thing back in reasonable shape again. And then up above, the railings were all rusted around the boat, so we really had our work cut out for us. But once we got the rust kind of covered up, you could see that this was actually, doable to get this thing put back together again. So the first look at it, it just looked like, oh my God, this thing is just a mess. This is just kind of overwhelming.
Right.
And I mean, once we got the rust, sanded down and painted, it really started to come together to realize it wasn't overwhelming, and there would
right.
be
There's still a boat here.
Yeah, there's still a boat here,
yeah.
and we are going to see the end of it. We're pretty close to getting the thing, totally done. So,
right. So now tell me a little bit more about the boat. So, obviously it's a 50-foot replica. It seats how many?
It seats 9 passengers plus the captain. And you open the roof up of the boat, and you step inside, so you're always seeing, above the cabin.
Right.
People think that when you're riding in the boat, you're looking out of all the small windows, which just isn't the case. So it's pretty neat. It's like I said, 50 feet long. It's got a steel hull. It weighs 10 tons. The boat has twin engines, twin Chryslers, and looking at the hour meter on the boat, it's got about 800 hours on the mini mount. So when Jack Miller built this, the thing certainly didn't sit at the dock to wind up putting 800 hours on those motors. And these are stainless steel shafts. And off the top of my head, I want to say the shafts are probably 20 feet long. There must be several hundred, if not maybe even a couple thousand feet of wiring in the boat. Communications, there's phones in there, the VHF radio. It's just unbelievable.
Right.
Depth finder, weather station, intercom, music system.
Wow.
And the other nice thing too that Jack Miller did, which is somewhat unique, he took a recording of the horn on the Big Mount Washington, and he sent that recording off to someplace and had the horn on the mini mount at the same pitch as what the Big Mount is. So when you hear the two horns, they
didn't miss a detail.
They were into this thing big time.
Yeah.
And then there's over 200 Barbie doll passengers.
Yeah, do you want to reach the hole behind you? I think this is so neat. So these are all, so there's Barbie dolls, like, placed all the way around the boat, everywhere.
Yeah. And when you look at the boat underway, if you're off from a distance, it's tough to tell if it's the Big Mount or the Little Mount. You really need to look at something else around to realize that it's the
mini,
little,
yeah.
Jack Miller's wife, Allison, she went out to yard sales and bought Barbie dolls. And the ones that didn't have clothes, she actually made the clothes for the ones that didn't have the clothes.
Right.
And then Jack's son-in-law, Dale, he made all these fiberglass chairs. And when you look at the chairs, these are exactly the same.
They literally are the ones you would sit on the mount.
Yeah, they're exactly like the full scale, and there's several hundred of these. And Dale was telling me that, oh yeah, Jack would call him up and say, oh Dale, I need 10 more chairs for this weekend, you know,
Right.
so he could whip
We
up
found
10 more
some space.
chairs. So,
Yeah.
you know, pretty amazing that the whole family
So-
was on board with this thing.
Now, are these the original ones too
Oh,
that
yeah.
were with the boat? They were still
Yes.
on
Yeah.
the boat when you got them. Had they
Yeah.
been tucked away, or were they just?
Yeah, they're
were
all in
they
my
getting
basement.
weathered
Yeah,
too?
they're in my basement.
Yeah.
They're all sitting down there, so, you know, when the old furnace guy comes to do the service in the fall, I gotta tell him that, you know, the story
Right.
about the Barbie dolls. So,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
it's so unique, and it really, like you were saying earlier when we were talking before, it really was a family effort
yes,
to make this happen.
yeah.
So what an honor for you guys to be taking
Yeah,
it
the
on and,
custodians,
and
yes.
trying to rebuild it. And so now you have a website,
Yes,
the mvminimount.com,
yes,
that people can visit and
Yes.
see the progress that you guys have been making and all the work that you've been doing.
Progress that Timmy's been making.
Doug's daughter Allison is the one that manages the website for us.
Right.
And we've
So
also
it's a
got
family event
Yeah,
for
we've
you
got
guys
a
too.
Facebook page and Instagram also.
Okay.
So people can
And that
connect with
is facebook.com/mvminimount?
Yeah, MV
Okay.
Minimount, yeah.
And it's mvminimount on Instagram as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So now what's the goal moving forward?
Well,
Oh, he's-
Doug can address that.
Okay.
Well, the goal, as it's always been, is to find a good home for it somewhere around the lake where she's visible. She would need a roof over her head, but doesn't need a full building. So we're just hoping to find somebody that's got a little piece of land somewhere that they might be willing to, in essence, donate to display the Little Mount Washington.
Yeah.
Have been talking with the boat museum over in Wolfeboro, and we're getting close, but they got other projects they're working on
Right.
and so forth. So I know that would be the ideal location for it, with their new building and land in Back Bay. But say they got a lot going on with that, so that's kind of an unknown. But that would be the wish.
Wow. So, is there hope to get it back in the water again too?
Ooh. There's a lot of hope. I'm not sure I've got that hope.
Right.
It would be quite an endeavor to get her back in the water, and then you're going to need a place to dock her,
Right.
and hopefully keep her again undercover so that somebody else doesn't have to go through what Timmy's gone through.
Right.
We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed and
Right,
hope
and
somewhere along.
see what opportunities come your way.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think this is so incredible. It's so awesome that you guys have taken this on and you guys are invested in it, as I would say Jack and Ed were.
Yes.
I think they would approve
Yeah.
big time.
It's so much
It's so
fun.
great to see that 20 years later it's still in one piece. You know, it's such a unique, especially to the Lakes region. It's so unique a thing to have happened in the first place, let alone be bringing it back 20
Right.
years later.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely awesome.
And we have heard a number of times from Ed Oleska down in Florida, who's written some very, very nice notes. So that's, they know.
It's encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And the other thing we're working on is a time capsule. So we'd like to put a time capsule into the mini mount
Right.
and have that opened up in 20 years from now.
Yeah.
This year was the 20th anniversary of the mini mount launching, so
Right.
we'd like to do that. So we're in the process of putting together a time capsule.
Yeah, it's gonna have a Barbie doll.
I'm not sure.
Maybe
We're
some
working on
pictures.
we're
It's like
working
what
on
things
that.
do you include
Yeah.
that really are the essence of? Yeah.
He's already put one time capsule on board in a place that nobody will ever find.
Really, because now I want to go find it. You know that, right?
And there's
Like-
nothing of value in that little, coffee can time capsule.
Right.
But it'll be the next person that has to do major, restoration
Renovation, yeah.
on it that would wind up finding it eventually. So.
Right.
But the major time capsule, we'll put it someplace with a note,
Right.
saying
That says when to.
yeah
open
where
it.
where it's located, when to open it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for sitting down and talking with me. So as of December 1st, 2015, the Mini Mount now has a new home at the New Hampshire Boat Museum.
Yeah.
This has been a production of Wolfeboro Community TV, bringing your community to view.